Joining BYU Sports Nation via the Deseret First Credit Union hotline right now is Michigan radio play-by-play voice Jim Brandstatter. Jim, welcome to BYU Sports Nation.
Thank you. Very good to be with you. How are you doing out there?
Fantastic. What's the vibe like right now in Ann Arbor for Michigan football after 3 games?
It's pretty excited. Everybody's excited about Jim Harbaugh, obviously. They've been that way since he got the job last December. And given the fact that they won 2 of 3, they've kind of returned to their roots and their style of play and what Jim likes to do. Everybody's very excited, and this game will be the biggest game at home, and I'm expecting you're going to see some real excitement and a lot of buzz around Ann Arbor.
Have the expectations for the season changed at all after 3 games, since now you see a little bit of what this team can do?
You know what? The expectations here are always big. There are Michigan fans who believe, you should be in the national championship game every year. And so that's one aspect of it. The other aspect is, kind of a wait and see. And I think that what they've seen is, from the Utah game in the beginning when they lost that opener, the improvement that this team has made has really kind of buoyed the fan base. And I think they feel that they got a real good shot in the Big Ten East to compete. And they've got Michigan State and Ohio State at home. And I think that's where people are kind of looking down the road, the ability to compete for a Big Ten championship. But, this game against BYU, in my opinion, is going to be a really, really good barometer on, one, how much they've improved at Michigan and how far they've got to go. Because BYU's a darn good football team.
When you look at BYU and what they bring to the table and what Michigan has been able to do defensively this year, they're ranked number 7 in total defense across the NCAA. How much will BYU really test Michigan's defense tomorrow?
Oh, I think they'll test them big time. They've got very big receivers. I'm telling you, that they're very fast. They're very athletic. Juergens is extremely good. They're 6'5", 6'4", 6'6" guys that I think is going to test the Michigan secondary quite a bit. Now, the big key, I think, as it always is in a game where there are passes out there, is how much pressure you get on a quarterback. I think the other thing that, again, puts pressure on the Michigan defense is an athletic quarterback like Mangum, who wasn't expected to start. Taysom Hill was the guy, and now all of a sudden this guy comes on and has become this cardiac kid. And BYU has beaten very solid teams and did it in Nebraska and was a point away from doing it at the Rose Bowl. So we know that going to Ann Arbor in front of 109,000 people isn't going to stop them at all. It isn't going to bother them. They're a veteran team, even though their class years may be young. They're older guys because of the missions and things that happen at BYU. This is a team that you better take seriously.
When you look at Michigan football, where's the strength over BYU in your opinion?
Well, I think that's what we're going to find out. The defensive line and the secondary have really improved, and they've played much better over the course of 3 games. That to me has been the biggest improvement. They've been very disruptive up front. Chris Wormley has kind of stepped up. A kid named Matt Godin and Ryan Glasgow last week had really good games. Their linebackers have always been solid, but Channing Stribling at one corner and Jordan Lewis at the other have been really, really good cover corners, and I think that's a great matchup with the receivers that BYU brings in here. So I think that's going to be one of those things to watch. And the other thing is Michigan's offensive line. Are they going to be able to run the ball like they did against 2 inferior opponents? Let's put it that way. Oregon State and UNLV do not bring to the table up front defensively what BYU does. And your linebackers are very athletic and very fast. You're very aggressive defensively. Those are the places I think that you really got to look at in this game to be keys in how it's going to go based on the performance of those units.
Jim Brandstatter, play-by-play voice of Michigan football. Follow him on Twitter. He has a fantastic handle, @BrandyManCan. That's one of the best I've ever heard, Jim.
I'm glad you like it.
If Michigan cannot establish a run against BYU, and everybody knows it's coming. Bronco Mendenhall is preparing. He jokingly said, we're preparing for 5,000 runs tomorrow from this Michigan offense. If they cannot establish a run game like they want to, how capable of a passer is Jake Rudock?
He's capable, but if they stop the run, it's going to it's going to be tough for Michigan to go. I mean, I think the emergence of Amar Darboh and Jehu Chesson at receiver has helped them. Jake Butt is a quality, very dependable tight end. But again, it's about protection. That offensive line remains, for Michigan anyway, a little bit of an area where people are a little concerned. And if you cannot run the ball, and Michigan and Jim Harbaugh like to, go three backs, three tight ends, downhill, fullback lead. That's the kind of game he likes. And then everything in the pass game comes off run action. And that's where I think it's key, that you must run the ball in order to make the passing game decent for what Jim Harbaugh is trying to do.
The people and odds makers must think that playing on the road for BYU yields some kind of huge advantage, and it always does for the home team. But BYU, for the fourth straight week, is going to be an underdog in the game, despite being, ranked in this one. Wolverines favored by 7. Do the majority of Michigan fans expect to beat BYU tomorrow?
I don't think so. I think whoever the odds makers are didn't get their medication or something. I just don't know where that comes from. I got to be honest with you. When the game was set up last week, Michigan beats UNLV, and BYU loses a very tight one to UCLA in the Rose Bowl. And Michigan, I think, was installed early as a 6-point favorite. I thought, that's got to be a mistake. I mean, everybody around here believes this is a pick'em game. I would have thought going into the game, that Michigan might have been a 3-point underdog at home. I mean, that's what I thought would have been a proper line. And to have them as favorite, I think it was a surprise to me. So I don't know what the odds makers are doing. I know this, that most Michigan fans, people that have seen BYU play, realize that they are a very tough out. And again, I think it goes back to what I said earlier. This is going to be a great barometer for Michigan. Find out how good they are. This is a great litmus test for them because BYU is a quality opponent. And I think same thing in regards to BYU. They've had a rough schedule, and if they can come in Ann Arbor and win, I think they validate their top 25 standing.
Michigan radio play-by-play man Jim Brandstatter with us on BYU Sports Nation. No question Jim Harbaugh created just an immediate sense of euphoria, and Michigan football will be back. And now that he's at the helm, we're starting to see Michigan assert itself again as that tough-minded, we're going to run it at you, I dare you to stop us type football program. But what has the Harbaugh effect been like on the fans around Ann Arbor? How much of a celebrity is he in Ann Arbor?
Does Mick Jagger come to mind? I mean, the guy is a rock star. Since he came in to Ann Arbor, he's done some things, that Michigan fans love. The fact, during the wintertime, there was a snowstorm and a car ran off the road and Jim was right behind it. He stopped and they got out and helped 2 people with the ambulances. The only thing he's missing is the sweater with the red S on the front of it. And that's kind of what Michigan fans are expecting. And it's kind of back to the future because he comes in with a great Michigan pedigree. He played here. He played for the great Bo Schembechler. He's been successful wherever he's been. It's almost as if we've gone back to the future. And everybody is expecting him to do great things. He expects himself to do great things. And now's the time to prove it. You got to win games in order to kind of keep that momentum going. And after the opener, he's won 2 in a row at home. And this is, again, going to be a huge game, I think, for Jim, for Michigan and the fans. And if he does, I think the legend just continues to grow.
Is there a shortage of khakis in the Ann Arbor area right now?
Oh my God! Don't even go there. They're selling at the M-Den, which is one of the apparel stores in town in Ann Arbor for the all your Michigan goodies. They've got khakis with block blue M's on it, and you can buy a khaki skirt if you're a girl. They got little skirts for little girls that are khaki. When Fox Sports did the khaki cam on the opener in Utah, it just kind of went over the top. But, yes, to answer your question, you can get plenty of khakis in Ann Arbor. There is no shortage of khakis.
Jim, great stuff. Thanks for the insight into Michigan football. We wish you a good call tomorrow on your program there, and thanks again for the time.
Good to be with you guys. Take care.